His name looks like Guyasuta, but phonetically, supposedly, it's supposed to be pronounced Guyasuta. Guyasuta, Guyasuta. Guyasuta or Guyasuta. I'll try to say Guyasuta, Suda. That's what I think it is. Guyasuta means it stands up to the cross. He is the chief of the Seneca people. Guyasuta is the chief of the Seneca people. He is a mentor to Simon Girty. Guyasuta is the Native American who is with George Washington in that statue, Point of View. The Point of View statue, which is in Point of View Park, overlooking Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And that meeting between Guyasuta and George Washington had happened in 1770. And the meeting was about George Washington's ambitions to take all the land away from Guyasuta and all the Native Americans. But unfortunately, Guyasuta didn't know until it was too late. Guyasuta, after he had fought with Pontiac's war, this war, some people called the Pontiac's Rebellion, Pontiac and Guyasuta's Rebellion, just to show how important Guyasuta was in that battle. So the French and Indian War happened in 1754 to 1763. It was a Treaty of Paris, but then Pontiac was like, I don't fucking think so, and then he attacked, because, you know, the French were banished from the North American continent, but Guyasuta, Pontiac, they were like, you know, fuck that, so the French are just going to leave, and then the British are going to take over these French forts? No fucking way. So they fought back. And it's very similar to the Chickamauga Cherokee after the American Revolution was over. So Guyasuta met George Washington, who he called Tall Hunter, in 1753, when he accompanied and guided him through Pennsylvania to the French Fort Le Boeuf, and is referred to as the Hunter in Washington's personal journals. So Guyasuta called George Washington the Tall Hunter, and then George Washington called Guyasuta the Hunter. Despite the expedition, Guyasuta played a role in defeating the Braddock expedition. So Guyasuta in 1753 actually escorted George Washington to the French Fort Le Boeuf, but then fights against the British, because George Washington was British at the time, in the Braddock expedition. Now the Braddock expedition, so Guyasuta's fighting the expedition, and I want to say this had been around the time that Simon Girty had got kidnapped, so Simon Girty could have been there. But look at all the people that was in Braddock's expedition. Braddock, it's going to be a huge loss for the British. And this is Daniel Boone was there. So there's British Daniel Boone, British George Washington, British William Crawford, Charles Scott. So Daniel Boone, Daniel Morgan, William Crawford, which is a piece of shit, right? He eventually gets burnt up a little bit. Charles Scott. And then among the British was Thomas Gage, Charles Lee, future American President George Washington, and Horatio Gates. So the Braddock expedition is going to be a huge loss for the British. But that was Guyasuta. Guyasuta was, you know, he meets George Washington in 1753, and then he's on the opposing side in 1755. And then by 1770, they were allies or friendly enough to actually, you know, have that conversation, which is based on historical, you know, the lookout, that sculpture is based on, Point of View sculpture is based on a national meeting that took place. So Chief Custaloga's village, Guyasuta was given a Christian burial. According to one account, may be buried at Custaloga Town Scout Reservation, now a Boy Scout camp located along French Creek at the former site of Chief Custaloga's village in French Creek Township, Pennsylvania. So Guyasuta could be buried at the Custaloga Town Scout Reservation, which is now a Boy Scout camp located along French Creek at the former site of Chief Custaloga's village in French Creek Township, Pennsylvania. Just some review. Simon Girty, who was also called Katepakomin. Simon Girty's Native American name was Katepakomin. Simon Girty would go to the Seneca, so it was Guyasuta who had mentored and looked over Simon Girty. That was the tribe that Simon Girty went to. George Girty went to the Lenape people. James Girty went to the Shawnee people, as did Mary Newton and baby John Turner Jr. They all went to the Shawnee. Now John Tanner, who was kidnapped by the Shawnee in northern Kentucky, Boone County, a very famous capture, Native American captive story, is the story of John Tanner. His Native American name was Shawshaw Binasi. So Shawshaw Binasi, it was the falcon. So Shawshaw Binasi meant the falcon. And he was called the Falcon for many years. Now, I'm not for sure what Kati Pa Kumin means. I'm not sure what Simon Girty's name means. Kate Pa Kumin. But shouldn't we call people by what they call themselves? Who are we to thrust our names on other people? It's like the Winnebagos. The Winnebagos is the Ho-Chunk people. But some people call them the Winnebago, and Winnebago means the people of the Stinking Creek, or the Stinking people. So talk about racist or disrespectful, derogatory. Anytime you use Winnebago, you're calling those stinking people. The Ho-Chunks, why don't you just call them the Ho-Chunks? Well, fuck them, they're the stinking people. Winnebago is a very racist term. It's the exonym. It's what the enemies of the Ho-Chunk people called the Ho-Chunks. So Winnebago would be, the victors. And yeah, we should call them the Ho-Chunks because that's who they are. Custaloga is also known as Patkanki. So Patkanki, it's all pancake. Custaloga could be pancake. But Patkanki, he's a member of the Wolf clan of the Lenape through his mother's bloodlines. Captain Pipe was Custaloga's nephew and succeeded him as Lenape Wolf clan chief in 1773. So this is Custaloga. This is where the Guyasuta is buried, at Custaloga's Town Scout Reservation. So Custaloga, look at all these different connections. Custaloga is a member of the Wolf clan of the Lenape. Captain Pipe takes over Custaloga. Custaloga is too old or something, so he steps down. He's also known as either Pancake, or Custaloga means pancake, or Patkanki. I'm inclined to be that it's Pankanki. Somebody else probably anglicized it. Oh, Patkanki. His name was Pancake. June 24th, 1763, Turtleheart and Mamaltee, M-A-M-A-L-T-E, Mamaltee. It's how William Trent had wrote it down. These are both chiefs. Turtleheart was a chief, a Lenape chief. He was Captain Pipe's father or uncle. And this is the Lenape chief that William Trent tried to kill with smallpox blankets at Fort Pitt, June 24th, 1763. So Turtleheart and Mamaltee are there and saying, hey, there's Native Americans. They're probably going to come and destroy you. You might want to get the hell out. So they're warning them, giving them a heads up. And then William Trent was like, well, thanks for the heads up. Here's some smallpox blankets. And so that's one of the first instances of biological warfare in the colonies in North America. And it was Turtleheart, which is Captain Pipe's father or his uncle. So it was that close away from Captain Pipe. And so Mamaltee, Captain Pipe's uncle or father, Turtleheart. Right. The Treaty of Fort Stanwix was held by Sir William Johnson, Baronet, with the Six Nations, Shawnees, Delawares, Senecas of Ohio, and other dependent tribes at Fort Stanwix in the months of October and November 1768 for the settlement of a boundary line between the colonies and Indians pursuant to the orders of King George I. So we all know that Simon Girty was a principal interpreter for the Treaty of Fort Stanwix, the 1768 Treaty of Fort Stanwix. Simon Girty was the principal interpreter there, and it was being held by Sir William Johnson and the Six Nations. And they were trying to figure out, this is the Lenape, the Shawnee, Senecas of Ohio, which would be your Custaloga. No, who was the guy we were just now talking about? Guyasuta. That's who was leading the Seneca, you know. So this is 2 years actually before that statue. That point of view statue says that Guyasuta and George Washington had met. So 1768, October, November, the settlement of a boundary line between the colonies and Indians pursuant to the orders of King George. So the Shawnee, Lenape, Seneca, other dependent tribes at Fort Stanwix eventually draws a boundary line between the colonies and the Native Americans. So that's nice, right? Custaloga, as he was documented by Indian agent George Croghan. And George Croghan was a pretty major figure on the frontier. And other British colonists settled in western Pennsylvania in the mid-18th century and built a sizable village with his band at the confluence of French Creek and North Deer Creek in Mercer County, Pennsylvania. This town, known as Custaloga's town, became his principal seat. He also started another village known as Custaloga along the French Creek at the present site of Meadville in Crawford County, Pennsylvania. Custaloga's name first appeared in western Pennsylvania's history in George Washington's Journal of 1753 when 21-year-old Washington arrived at Fort Machault, M-A-C-H-A-U-L-T, in the village of Venango, present Franklin, Pennsylvania. Custaloga was in charge of the wampum of his nation under Chief Shingas. By late 1773, at the Conference of Indian Nations at Fort Pitt, the tribe was discussing the secession of the agent principal chief Netawaltwees, who died in 1776. George Croghan, sub-agent to Sir William Johnson, the superintendent of Indian Relations. Alright, different ideas here, but they're saying that William Custaloga was in charge of the wampum of his nation under Chief Shingas. So George Washington writes down Custaloga's name in 1753. This would be just before the French and Indian War, the Fourth French and Indian War begins, or you know, in the middle of Father Le Loutre's war. But it's 21-year-old Washington, you know, and this is 4 years prior. I mean, William Campbell, or not Campbell, Crawford, William Crawford. So more about George Croghan coming up. William Trent, he's a fur trader, a merchant based in colonial Pennsylvania. William Trent is the one that tries to kill Mamaltee, and Turtleheart. So the uncle or father of Captain Pipe, William Trent tried to kill by means of biological warfare, giving them blankets that had smallpox on it. So William Trent's a fur trader. He's a merchant based in colonial Pennsylvania. He's commissioned a captain of the Virginia Regiment in the early stages of the French and Indian War, the fourth one, the main French and Indian War, but it's the fourth intercolonial war. And he served on the western frontier with the young Lieutenant Colonel George Washington. So Trent led an advance group who built forts, improved roads for troop access and defense of the Western Territory. He was later promoted to the rank of Major. William Trent had gone into fur trading by 1740, aided by capital from his father, a wealthy shipping merchant of Philadelphia who was the founder of Trenton, New Jersey. The younger Trent took on George Croghan. George Croghan. So George Croghan was an Irish immigrant, and William Trent took this Irish immigrant as his partner, as he was effective in developing trading networks with the Native Americans. In 1744, William Trent purchased vast lands in the Ohio country west of the Appalachian Mountains. In 1744, how was William Trent able to purchase land in the Ohio country west of the Appalachian Mountains in 1744? 1744 would be at the beginning of King George's War. So this is before Father Le Loutre's War. This is before George Washington's French and Indian War. This is, in fact, it's the first year of King George's War, King George II. So at the very beginning of King George's War, William Trent is able to buy a whole bunch of land in the Ohio country west of the Appalachian Mountains. From then through the 1780s, he was a key figure in encouraging westward expansion by Anglo-American settlers past the Appalachian barrier, as he wanted to sell his land in parcels for development. He's a land speculator. William Trent's a land speculator. And as a land speculator, what the fuck does he give a shit if he's spreading smallpox to the Native Americans? The more of those that he gets rid of, the clearer the ground is for his Anglo, settlers that want to settle in his land. So it's about the land. It's about stealing the resources, taking the land and saying, get the fuck out of here, damn Native Americans. It's William Trent. Here's another line about Turtleheart in the report to Colonel Henry Bouquet by Captain Simeon Ecuyer. Turtleheart was responsible at Beaver Creek for killing traders John Calhoun and those Coplin. THO''S Coplin, COPLIN. So Turtleheart was responsible at Beaver Creek for killing traders John Calhoun. Not the John Calhoun that was all about segregation, that Yale is still, or Stanford or what the fuck ever. Some Ivy League college that wants to stand behind John Calhoun, in fact, of his, pro-slavery stance. But that's not the same John Calhoun. So just, they wrote down that Turtleheart, which is either the uncle or the father of Captain Pipe, is also the ones who killed John Calhoun and those Coplin at Beaver Creek, according to Simeon Ecuyer and Colonel Henry Bouquet. We haven't got into a lot of the fun, actually, of the Lenape people, the politics for the Lenape people, especially during the Simon Girty's deflection and the Squaw campaign, 1778. So, just a quick recap. Turtleheart, John Kilbuck represented the Lenape Nation at the treaty at Fort Stanwix, where Simon Girty was the principal interpreter. 1768, Treaty of Fort Stanwix. Turtleheart was there. John Kilbuck, who was also known as Bimini, something. And John Kilbuck's son is known as G. Lillymond. Fuck Lillymond. This G. Lillymond is going to be a turncoat piece of shit, okay? G. Lillymond is going to sell out his own fucking people, fuck them all over, and then live out his days as an exile. So this is John Kilbuck Jr., who's going to fuck over his own people. And then the tragedy, the assassination of White Eyes. We haven't got to White Eyes, but I had previously mentioned him briefly in as a foil to Captain Pipe. Captain Pipe heard Simon Girty and what they had done to his mother, his children, and his brother Bull. Captain Pipe's mother, children, his, brother Bull all got killed at the Squaw campaign. So Captain Pipe wanted war, but White Eyes pushed for peace. Wait, slow down. Had a powwow, sent out some runners to Fort Pitt, wanted 10 days to think about before going to war. And so White Eyes was either a pacifist or, defended the Continental Congress. But eventually, he's going to sign a treaty, and then they're going to kill him. And they're going to blame it on smallpox. Oh, he died of smallpox. Oh, so you all went out with him, and then he just died of smallpox just like that. It's a couple times has done it. The Pilgrims, and the Mystic River, and all those fucking original Pilgrims. Right, somebody dies all of a sudden, and so I want to say it was not Metacomet, but it was the one before Metacomet. His brother, the Wampanoags. The Wampanoags had a person who went to the white people and then just died out of nowhere. So, yeah. That's John Kilbuck, White Eyes. White Eyes, even though he was in favor of peace with the Continental Congress, he got assassinated. But Captain Pipe, who said, let's go to war, he didn't get assassinated. He wound up signing like 2 or 3 treaties afterwards. But at that time, once White Eyes got killed, he was like, I'm fucking done. They're bullshitting us. They killed White Eyes. White Eyes was in favor of peace. White Eyes was the one that tried to stop everybody from going to war. And they killed him. So George Croghan, born 1718, died 1782. He was an Irish-born fur trader in the Ohio country of North America, currently U.S., who became the region's key figure earlier than his 1746 appointment to the Iroquois Onondaga Council, and remained so until his banishment from the frontier in 1777. So from 1746 at least, that's when he was appointed to the Iroquois Onondaga Council. So from 1746 at least until 1777, when he was banished from the frontier for some bullshit treason charges from Edward Hand, remember, of the Squaw Campaign. Edward Hand of the Squaw Campaign eventually says that George Croghan isn't an American, and then he gets booted out for treason. But for 30 years, from 1746 to 1777, George Croghan was key figure. Listen to what he did. Immigrating to Pennsylvania in 1741, he became an important trader by going to the villages of Native Americans, learning their languages and customs, and working on the frontier where previously mostly French had been trading. So he was able to trade with Native Americans because he learned their languages and customs. He actually had respect for the Native Americans. And that's why he became an important trader. A person that would trade amongst them. So he's one of the first English people to begin trading with the Ohio and Great Lakes Indians, when mostly it had been the French had been doing the trading. During and after King George's the second war of the 1740s, which would be the third French and Indian War, the third intercolonial war. During and after King George II's war of the 1740s, George Croghan helped negotiate new treaties and alliances with Native Americans. Beginning in 1754, he was a rival. George Croghan was a rival of George Washington for influence in the Ohio country, and remained far more powerful there for more than 20 additional years until 1777, during the American Revolutionary War, when he was falsely accused of treason. He was acquitted the following year, but Patriot authorities did not allow him back into the Ohio Territory. So that's fucking, what the fuck happened there? Some bullshit? So George Washington and George Croghan are rivals. They're trying to take the same land, so they're both British, they're both English, trying to take the same land, and so they're rivals. So beginning in 1754, and then they said that he couldn't have any of the land claims that he had in 1777. So how fucking convenient, right? It's fucking perfect. And it was General Edward Hand of the Squaw Campaign. So General Edward Hand of the city accused George Croghan in 1777 of treason. George Croghan was banished from the frontier, although he was acquitted in November 1778. Daniel Boone had to do a court martial. They were saying that he was actually more pro-British than what he had been given, than what other people in his sort of crew had began. So it wasn't just George Croghan that was accused of treason, but so did Daniel Boone. George Croghan wasn't allowed to return to the frontier. He died little acknowledged in 1782, shortly after the end of the Revolutionary War. George Croghan's 30 years as the pivotal figure in Ohio country history has attracted relatively little academic interest. The Iroquois hoped that by releasing Ohio lands, they could take pressure off of their own home territories in New York and Pennsylvania areas rather than secure peace. The Fort Stanwix Treaty of 1768, the one that Simon Girty was the principal interpreter, the one where Kilbuck Bimini, the John Kilbuck Sr., John Kilbuck the First, and Turtleheart, John Kilbuck, Simon Girty, and then that British guy, William something or another. They were there at the Treaty of Fort Stanwix. But instead of securing peace, the Treaty of Fort Stanwix, 1768 Treaty of Fort Stanwix, actually helped to set the stage for the next round of hostilities between Native Americans and British colonists along the Ohio River, which would eventually culminate into Lord Dunmore's War. 1774, Lord Dunmore's War, Battle of Point Pleasant, Cornstalk, Shawnee, Virginia, frontiersmen. Some people say it's the first battle of the American Revolution, and it was all about Johnny Logan fighting in retaliation for the massacre on Yellow Creek, where his entire family had been killed. Very similar to the Squaw campaign, how they killed Captain Pipes, not his entire family, but his mother. His mother, right? You only get one mother. His brother, Bull, was an old man, and then his children. So his mother, his brother, and then his kids. Captain Pipe all saw those die by Edward Hand, and then Edward Hand is the same person that gets George Croghan kicked out of the Ohio country. And big shocker that it's a rival to George Washington. So George Washington was a land speculator, saw George Croghan as a threat to his holdings. So instead of actually winning the land properly, just called him, a fucking traitor, got him kicked out of the land, and then wouldn't return any of the holdings. Perfect. I mean, it was a perfect fucking, what do they call that? Racket. It was a perfect, George Washington is a racketeer. He's a very effective racketeer. So, the Treaty of Fort Stanwix was a treaty between Native Americans and Great Britain signed in 1768 at Fort Stanwix in present-day Rome, New York. It was negotiated between Sir William Johnson, his deputy, George Croghan, and representatives of the Six Nations, a.k.a. the Iroquois. So George Croghan was at the Treaty of Fort Stanwix. So was Sir William Johnson and the Iroquois. So there was the Lenape. The Lenape people were there. That's what Killbuck and Turtleheart represented, the Lenape. I want to say that Turtleheart represented the Wolf Clan, the Turtle Clan, the Wolf Clan. And so there wasn't just the Iroquois there, but it was also the Lenape, Delaware, and Sir William Johnson, George Croghan was there. The treaty established a line of property following the Ohio River that ceded the Kentucky portion of the colony of Virginia to the British, as well as most of what is now West Virginia. The treaty also settled land claims between the Six Nations and the Penn family. The lands thereby acquired by the British in Pennsylvania were known as the New Purchase. So, Moytoy of Tellico, he died 1741, which would actually be the same year that Simon Girty was born. He's also known as Amo Addy Wehi in Cherokee, which means the Rainmaker. So, Moytoy of Tellico, he was a prominent leader of the Cherokee in the American Southeast. He was given the title Emperor of the Cherokee by Sir Alexander Cumming, a Scots Anglo trade envoy in what was then the province of South Carolina, and is regularly referred to as King in official English reports, as this was a familiar term of rank to colonists. He was from Great Tellico, Tahlequah, a historic Cherokee town in what is now Tennessee. In 1730, Sir Alexander Cumming, a Scottish adventurer with ties to the colonial government of South Carolina, arranged for Moytoy to be crowned emperor over all the Cherokee towns in a ceremony intended to appeal to Cumming's colonial sponsors. The Cherokee was crowned in the town of Nickwassee with a headdress referred to as the Crown of Tennessee. Cumming arranged to take Moytoy and a group of Cherokee to England to meet King George II. Moytoy declined to go, saying that his wife was ill. Attakullakulla, aka Little Carpenter, volunteered to go in his place. The Cherokee laid the crown at King George II's feet, along with 4 scalps. So here's the top of 4 people's heads, and here's the crown of Tennessee, which was the headdress that Moytoy was supposed to be wearing. So if you're really a king or an emperor, I don't see why you'd be lying the crown down at someone else's feet, unless the idea was that this empire of the Cherokee by Sir Alexander Cumming was supposed to be, submissive, subservient to King George's government. So regardless, this is about Moytoy of Tellico. He's known as the Emperor of the Cherokee for a spat of time. And even though he didn't go see King George II, his son, Colacola, the little carpenter, did go see him. Then, Moytoy became the legendary, the man, the myth, the legend, one of the greatest, just incredible, most badass Cherokee fucking warriors you'll ever fucking know. And I'm not just bullshitting this. I'm not just going to keep on